Hello, everyone. This is Sunday morning, and usually we do have the viewpoint where we discuss the news that are trending in the country. And today, also, I do have my co-host, Mr. Kevin Makobura, that we are going to discuss the news. Kevin, habari gani? Hello, Kevin.
Uh, yes.
How are you
Niko
doing?
salama,
Mm-hmm.
mambo iko shwari, nashukuru.
Asante sana, kaka. So, how is everything anyway?
Everything is okay.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, we are trying to do our best.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, our spirits are high.
Okay, thank you very much. There are a lot of news. The news that is the news that was there this week, and the ones that are trending. A lot of news. So many things that are happening in Kenya. So, what is your take on what is taking place in Kenya?
So far, we are having very many issues.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the main being the cost of living, which
Mm-hmm.
is a threat to Kenyan citizens.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we also having issues with the leadership of the Republic of Kenya,
Mm-hmm.
where uh, the people feels that they're not doing their best to make the lives of the people, uh, to make the life, the living, the cost of living lower, affordable for the people. And
Mm-hmm.
again, this issue of mismanagement of public resources.
Mm-hmm.
And I would also say there's a sort of lack of good leadership
Okay.
amongst many leaders who we expect would
Mm.
help the people of Kenya.
Okay. Thank you very much. And maybe if we may start with is about the politics of El Nino. As you are aware, remember there was some money that was allocated to El Nino during the budgeting. So, and at some point, His Excellency the President said, "We thank God we don't have El Nino, and we don't know where this money went." And along the way, El Nino is here, and you saw how the deputy president actually handled the situation, whereby he said like there was a 10 billion that was disbursed to the county's government to manage El Nino, and the county bosses were also saying like they did not receive any money. But like based on the stature or based on the high office the deputy president is holding, I don't think that he handled these issues of of El Nino with a lot of respect that it might have on him as a deputy president, because with Kenyans have lost members, the citizen of Kenya who have lost their life due to the floods that has we are seeing in the country, Mombasa, in many parts of the country. And the way deputy president handled this was not good. It ended up being a politic. It was like politicking as usual, yet this is something that is affecting Kenyans. What is your take on how the deputy president handled this, and we have with the county government bosses? What is your take on it?
Okay. Uh, First, the issue of the El Nino in Kenya. I remember the first time the people in the Department of Climate Meteorological Department
Mm-hmm.
uh, the information that Kenya would be expecting heavy rains, and that would be El Nino.
Mm-hmm.
And for that reason, there was a swift move by the national government together with the county. I remember they had meetings. They said clearly in that meeting, that was 2 months ago, that they were ready as a country to handle whatever is going to come, uh, especially by the heavy rains, and they said they were this time round as a government there was no life that was going to be lost. And I remember those who've been staying in Nairobi, there was a cleanup of drainage systems. And remember, these words came from the president, the deputy, and some governors. So after some time, when the people were really expecting the rains and they were ready for that, along the way, the president came and said to the people of Kenya that we thank God they had seen that there were no rains and that they had prayed. So fortunately, we were not now expecting the rains. And I remember him saying that now the money that we had allocated for El Nino, it should be channeled back and it should then be used to do something else. After quite some time, there were rains and people started feeling the pressure. And the rains have been there. They're really doing massive destruction. People have been killed, so many people. So many parts of the Republic of Kenya is flooded. And now, according to the expectation of the people, depending on the promises of the government, they expected that there would be help from the national government within the county. But it was unfortunate that despite the promises that the national government made when they were on a meeting discussing the issue of the climate in the Republic of Kenya, the money that they said they had put aside, that the money that would then be used in this El Nino thing, we realized that it was never really placed there. And when people are now really suffering, trying to attack the county governments, the deputy was in Mombasa some weeks ago, and he was actually inciting the citizens of Mombasa against the governor, that they had given money that would be used to help the people who were affected by these heavy rains. That same day, the governor also held a press and said there is no any single money that they were given by the national government and that the deputy president was lying. Again, the other day, His Excellency, the opposition leader, also talked about it, and it was clear. He said that the 10 billion that the government is claiming to have been set aside to help in the issue of the climate change, that this money was stolen. And Raila, I remember he said yesterday that whenever he tells this government that they have stolen the money, they keep on attacking him. And again, they keep on telling him to go home and retire from politics whenever he clarifies, whenever he tries to tell them that they are mismanaging the whole issue, and people are really suffering.
Yeah, from the look of things, even from the pictures that we are seeing from social media, it really tells you the way Kenyans have been affected. But one thing that maybe I would want to know, maybe even if somebody might be in the comment section and maybe tell us, do we have like disaster management in Kenya, especially in the national government, even in the county government, that deals with disasters like this? And the disaster management would comprise of emergencies, yeah. And if the money is allocated especially for a particular, actually they could, I don't think the government should just allocate money majorly for El Nino. It should be for disaster management, so that even if El Nino does not come, that any other disaster management that would make it very, 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 when it happens, we have quick response so that we can save the situation. But you see, like even right now, I don't think we have it, because you see, yesterday is when the president had a meeting, and like around, is it 2.4 billion was allocated for medication, airlifting, you know, and which means it's afterthought. It was not something that was there in the pipeline. Now, afterthought, we've lost life. So I don't know whether we have the disaster management in county government and disaster management at the national level.
It's, the government, every government, both the national government, the county government, whenever a budget is being discussed, there's that allocation that is supposed to be placed aside for disaster, for anything, the unforeseen situations. So it is there, even when budget is being done, it is money that should be placed aside, both in the national and the county government. Uh, as a citizen, ask myself if whether we are really doing the right thing, because as a country, and whether we are really following the constitution of the Republic of Kenya. Because if these things are very important things when it comes to governance and ensuring that the lives of people are well taken care of, if they never placed money for that reason, or suppose they did and then they took the money, maybe according to them, when they now realize that it was no longer there. I think it's wrong as a country, because disaster is something that comes, you never expect it. It never tells you that it's coming. But fortunately, remember the people in the meteorological department, they are the one earlier on that we were expecting this. So as a serious government, a government that cares for its citizens, I think they should always ensure that that money is ready. It should not be touched, because as a country, we will always face some disasters that we really never expected. Again, remember when the DP was speaking about how they gave 10 billion, and again, the councils of governors, they also came up and blazing, and they were very clear, led by their council of Governor Chaledi, that's Governor Anwe Guru. And she clearly stated that there's no any money that they received from the national government that was supposed to be used in that in the issue that is affecting the people of Kenya. But again, we also ask ourselves, if these statements would be coming from the deputy president, then we'll ask ourselves, as a deputy president, why would a whole deputy president, the second in command, make statements that are not really true, statements that are really going to cause rifts between leaders? As a deputy, and again, the leader of the Council of Governors, Anwar Guru, she is from the UDA. And, they're in the ruling government. As a deputy president, why would he kind of try to even blackmail their ruling government by making statements which are not really true? I think that shows, and I would say that for the first time in a country, we have a worst deputy president in office, a deputy president who doesn't care what he says, a deputy president who has a loose mouth, I would say so, because as a deputy, he needs to, the kind of wording that he should be using is one that should be uniting the people of Kenya, not one that is even being disputed by his juniors. So on this whole issue, there could be a scandal that is holding, and we should expect in the near future we'll come to know that there was some mismanagement when it came to the whole issue, because when they keep on talking about different allocation, amount of money and allocation, that tells you that there's something, they're not in the same script, that everyone has a different information. But with time, we shall get to know the truth.
Yeah, I agree with you, because the history of our country, especially when it comes to allocation of funds, somebody will have to take a share, And talking about the deputy president, I think deputy president should know that he's the second in command. I'm not praying for president for something to happen for president, but just God forbid if something happens, he's going to be the president. So he should think nationally. He should not so much engage in kind of like local politics, especially when we have a disaster that involves the lives of Kenyans. This is where like we would see that patriotism, whereby you try to uh, uh, bring play show leadership for your country. Even when they went to Mombasa, it took them so long because like a situation whereby when you have flood, we have the Kenya Army, the defense forces. Those are the times that we can utilize the defense forces because that is emergency. Through the executive, they can give an order. So the defense forces would help us. But this one, he went to Mombasa to talk to the people of Mombasa, yet there was a disaster. What was him going to do there rather than just talking to them? So sometimes I think deputy should think beyond central Kenya and put himself in the national map of Kenya. Put himself like I'm not only serving central Kenya, but I'm serving the whole country. So that is something that we will be watching and we will be waiting to see if there's some corruption that is in there in the El Nino money. Maybe if you have something to add on that.
Okay, I would like to say that as a country, especially I would like to advise the governors when they have seen that the national government there's some level of incompetence in the national government, and because we've seen actually that's incompetence, there's some lack of leadership because as a national government they should be ready for anything that is coming that is going to affect the people. So I would like to advise the county government. Of course, it is also it's supposed to be done again at the county level. The county should budget for any disaster that is unforeseen because you never know. Disaster comes when you don't expect it. So the county government should always try to put aside some amount of money that should be used to help in such situations. They shouldn't really just depend on the national government because so far they have seen that the national government doesn't really care at times because as a county government, they're the people who are the people who are close with the people. So they should always ensure that they put aside some resources which are needed that would then help in these kind of situations.
Okay, thank you very much, and we will be following closely, and we send our condolences to Kenyans who have lost their lives during this time. Yeah, so may they find peace in the Lord. There's also the press release for National Dialogue Committee, and this one was done maybe I think it was yesterday evening by the Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka and Kibani Chungwa. And to me, when I look at the report, this is my own opinion as a Benson. When I don't think the report, to me, is sharing Kenyans' aspiration. This is not what I was expecting from the report, because it doesn't go well with the common Kenyans. But the people who are benefiting on this report are the people who have always our leaders, the players in the political class, those who have been playing in the politicals. They've benefited from this report like around 99%. That's my view. I don't know what your view is, because one of the just to read like some of the things that came out, there's electoral justice and related matters. When you read the literature over there, One of them is called the Audit of 2022 General Electoral Process that is going to be audited. I don't know when. There's also reconstructing, or and reconstituting what the IBC from members from 7 to 9. Then we have time resolution of the presidential election. I've lost my co-host. Maybe he'll be back. But as I was saying, I'm not in agreement with the report, especially when it comes to cost of living. Because what is written in the cost of, hello, you're back, yeah?
Yes, yes.
I was talking about the report that came from National Dialogue Committee. To me, I don't think it shares aspiration of Kenyans. And where I want to um, so much focus on is the cost of living. And when you see when you read what is written here is National Dialogue Committee recommends that all arms of government shall reduce their travel budgets by 50%, and that Salaries and Remuneration Commission review daily subsistence allowance for state and public officers with a view of reducing by 30%. It doesn't make sense. And the reason why I'm saying it doesn't make sense, how? Let's say, for instance, you've been earning 20,000. You're a state officer. You're earning 20,000. Then out of 20,000, you're being told now your salary should be reduced by 30% so that the cost of living can go down. How does that one make sense? And if you look up there, there's a place also, the office of official opposition leader has been created. This office will not be held with one person. This office will require assistance. This volunteers assistance to assist the staffs over there. The system itself. This office will require cars to be fuel. This office will be getting salary from exchequer. How then would you say that by reducing the cost of by reducing the travels by 50%, yet at the same time you are adding more offices? How does it reduce the cost of living? So that's why I feel like it's not sharing aspiration of Kenyans. I'm sorry. That's what I feel.
Yes, I think I would also like to say that the main reason why these whole committees came into place, it was because the people of Kenya had issues that were really affecting them, and they wanted these issues to be looked into. The main reason why the people of Kenya decided to go for mandamano demonstration, it was because of first, the most important thing was the cost of living that was too high, and they can't really afford. So they felt that by going to the street, the government would see the need to kind of understand their plea and the issues that they were presenting. So the most important number one was the cost of living, and then the rest, like the election issues and the leadership issues, were coming. Uh, Now, when these guys were having this kind of discussion, this group of leaders, the most important thing, number one thing that they were supposed to deal with was the cost of living, because that is the main thing that was touching every Kenyan citizen
Mhm.
in the Republic of Kenya. They never really made it number one important issue to be discussed, and when they were almost clearing, when they discussed things to do with the election, leadership, and so forth, in the last days, they then started the side of the opposition side, they started telling the people of Kenya that giving some demands which were not really even making sense. As a Kenyan citizen, I would say they were kind of trying to play a drama that was not really even finding Kenyans the right way. Because if they knew that that was the most important thing, they never presented that. And then when they're almost finishing, they come up and then start telling the people of Kenya that, oh, now in this discussion, we've not seen something so valuable. The cost of living is not there. I think it was just a tactic of trying to prepare the minds of Kenyans that the issue that they were really suffering from was not talked about, and so they were making Kenyans to get prepared of the outcome. Remember, before they was it 1 week ago? It was last week, I think they were saying that I remember the chairman, that is the majority leader of Kenya Kwanza, and His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka. They said that most of the issues, and they gave a list, and the same list that they've given here today, it is the same thing that they released the other time. The only difference now is they're trying to tell us that they have reduced, they have recommended that the cost of fuel to be reduced by, I don't know, 5 shillings or something like that. And I've also seen they've said they were trying to negotiate so that the VAT, the taxes the tax that was increased from 8% to 16 should be reduced again to 8. But again, they're also saying in the same statement that they have not come into an agreement. Now you ask yourself, what were they doing there? There is lack of seriousness. There is lack of talking issues that are really touching the lives of the people of Kenya. So the people of Kenya should also know that the opposition side, they're not really they don't really care about them. They just care about their interest, that is election come 22 and the servers to be opened, things like that. Those are things that we've passed. They're not serious issues. As much as they are, they're not a priority at this point. The priority should be lowering the cost of living so that every Kenyan would afford the basic needs that they require
Okay,
in their
thank you.
daily lives.
Okay, I would agree with you about the prepared the like how the citizen were prepared by telling them, like, if the cost of living is not part of the report, then it should not be accepted. And this one was, I think it was brought into public so that, you know, so that to make you have that, like, this, the government does not, or the leaders do not care about us. But when it is brought up here, now you will see, like, okay, they complained about it and now it is there. But it doesn't make sense, because if you look at now on the cost of living, the D, I will read the alphabet D, because it says, however, the committee was unable to reach consensus on number of other proposals on the matter of cost of living. That is, how could they fail to reach an agreement, yet they were able to reach an agreement when it comes to offices? How that one does not make sense to me. That's only my question. If you can reach agreement on how to create the office of the leader of opposition, what is making it so difficult to reach the agreement when it comes to cost of living? Because the cost of living, majorly the people that are affected are the majority of Kenyans, the people who are living below the poverty line. So when it comes to offices that we know many Kenyans cannot be appointed to be in those offices, it must be those in the political class. Yeah, those
Yes,
one you can agree, they can agree on. But now when it comes to the things that affect the common Kenyan, the common
yeah,
mwananchi, now they feel, now they were not able to reach consensus. And I would just read it to you. It says, however, the committee was unable to reach consensus on a number of other proposals on the matter of cost of living, including reduction of VAT on fuel from 16% to 16% to 18%. And when you talk of 16%, you are aware during the Jubilee government, by then when the Right Honorable Prime Minister and the former President Uhuru Kenyatta were together, this 16% was passed in the parliament from 8 to 16. It was something that was passed, and I can remember those days the Tangatanga wing that was head that was being led by the deputy president, now the current president, really complained when this bill was passed in parliament. Now, again, it is here. So it is now the work of the Kenyan citizen to think for themselves, and scrapping off the house levy, the twin issues in the Financial Act 2020. Now, to to me, I might be wrong, but to me, my question is to the viewers who might be watching this video: how could it be that they could agree in all the things, but when it comes to cost of living, there was no consensus? So that is a question that maybe the Kenyan people will have to answer.
Yes, again, we'd also ask ourselves the same, whether this government is really a government that is transparent, a government that is truthful to the people of the Republic of Kenya. Remember when the DP was campaigning, he was clear, and he would say him together with Didi Nyoro, that is the MP of Kiharu, and the majority leader, the MP of Kikuyu. I remember them using this some statements, very tough statements, and saying, if this government keeps on, that was the previous, if this government keeps on increasing taxes, whenever they go to sleep, if they feel like they want to increase the prices or taxes, they would do so. And I remember actually the three of them using very tough statements and saying, this government does not care about the people of Kenya. They does not really know how difficult the people of Kenya are finding it tough to even afford their daily needs. Now they've gotten into power. They have the opportunity to change the lifestyles of the people of the people of Kenya. They are the same people who opposed the increase of taxes in the previous government. Now they're even tripling it. Then that's
Mhm.
insincerity. That is something that, as a people, we should try to rate these people that we elect, and then we ask ourselves whether their the interest that they have, is it really pro people? Does these people really care about the normal, the wananchi? They don't.
Yep.
The other time when they were, would say they were in opposition, which they were not. They were part of the other government.
Mhm.
Since they had differences with the president, and they were in the side of the deputy president, they would oppose everything. Now they
Mhm.
have the opportunity to make the lives of Kenyans better. They're even making it worse.
Mhm.
So we are still far away from getting at the point where a leader would stand, speak about something, and then stick, whether in the coming 10 years. If you follow these other guys who have been in politics, let's say in the 90s or in early 2000s, people like, let's say somebody like Raila Amolo Odinga. Remember, most of time, whenever he speaks about something, he
Mhm.
maintains for quite some time. And I think there's some character that we should do sometimes try to embrace. When you don't like something, of course, there's room of changing mind, but there's some issues that when you have a stand, you should always try to maintain the stand, especially when it is something that is helping the people of Kenya.
but let's say for this dialogue committee, where we, if Honorable His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka, if the cost of living was addressed, was not addressed, they were not agreeing, and because they could not reach the consensus, it was within his right to come back and report to Kenyans to say that, okay, Kenyans, this is what is happening. We are not agreeing on cost of living, so I'm withdrawing from the national dialogue committee talk until we agree, rather than coming up with that literature whereby they've written about the cost of living that I don't think shares the aspiration of Kenyans. Because if we are really sincere, if we are really sincere, you know very well, and you walk on the street, you've seen some social medias, especially uh, some of the content creators, they go out of their way and assist Kenyans. Somebody like Pastor, we call it Dan Wema, not only him, so many content creators are going out of their way. And if you watch their videos, they would tell you, that one alone would tell you how Kenyans feel, especially when it comes to cost of living. Now, now the report is coming out. Maybe it's a proposal, it's not the real report. It's telling us we could not reach consensus, surely, on matters that are affecting Kenyans, but you can reach a consensus when it comes to creating an office for yourself. I think that is selfishness. That's
Yeah,
how the
I have been following Kalonzo. Let me say, there's a Mio leaders. Sometimes I've seen them when they're together, and specifically Kalonzo. I remember there's a time they were meeting. Was it in Kalonzo's backyard? And then after that, there is the time they attended a birthday party at Raila Odinga's brother's party. That's Dr. Buru. I remember Kalonzo saying clearly that I was nominated by the Azimio coalition to represent the views of the Azimio, that is the opposition, together with the people who supports us. And I want to tell you, the people of Kenya, these were his statements, that if the issue of lowering the cost of living is not among the most important thing to be discussed there, we will withdraw and we will get out of that discussion. Today or yesterday, the issue of lowering the cost of living was not uh, discussed as per the wishes that they had given to Kenyans. Like, I think they were using this tactic where there's some level of an insincerity in
Mhm.
the leadership of the Republic of Kenya, because they'll tell you something just so that you feel that these people care, but deep down they don't care. Kalonzo and the guys who are nominated by the Azimio, they would have sticked and said that the cost of living was number one. The cost of living is the reason why majority of our supporters were killed. The cost of living was the reason why people are putting sufurias on their head. If it is not really so, does it mean that now, because they've tried to find some solution on the issue of election and servers, the people of Kenya, the problem that they were going through is not solved? So, do we go from Andamano, and now the only thing that we should preach to them is lower the cost of living? And suppose they then decide that getting, they're making another committee or appointing some people. Will they then now discuss the only issue of lowering the cost of living?
No, I don't think so, because even when you even look that report, I'm not seeing where it is written the justice for, especially for the young Kenyans who lost their life during demonstration. There's no any other literature talking about them. And where will they get their justice? Because some of them were fathers, some of them were brothers, some of them were sons, some of them were breadwinners in their families. who will give them those answers? They are still asking those questions until today. What happened? And when will I get that justice? It's not in that report. So it's something that we will still follow it up. And I know the Kenyans will be reacting on it. And I think they've reacted. If you go to Facebook, you will see the comments of what Kenyans are writing on Facebook, especially on all the social media concerning the report. It doesn't share Kenyans' aspiration. I'm telling you, from the social media part of it, that's where you can know the effect of it. So hopefully they might go back to a drawing board and go to issues that affect Kenyans, because without Kenyans, that even that voting within the others offices will not be there, because they're there. Those offices are there for you to serve Kenyans, but you also have to at least put Kenyans first. Let them see a way of doing something on cost of living. Let the opposition and the government, they might go to a drawing board to serve Kenyans, because when you look at cost of living does not kind of like have a base. It's across the board. Either you are Azimio, you are a Kenya Kwanza, you are who. It cuts across the board. It's not selective. So this is a Kenyan issue. It affects all Kenyans. So I think it is high time our leader came to their senses and go back to the drawing board and um, do something about cost of living. Maybe if you have something to add on top.
Cost of living, I think solving the cost of living in Kenya, it isn't really a tough thing for our government. The most important thing, I think, if they can decide to lower the cost of fuel, because fuel is what really drives the economy. The cost of fuel determines the cost of every product. If if they really want to help the people of Kenya, the most important thing that they should look into is the cost of fuel. Getting to lower the cost of fuel would somehow try to reduce the cost of products and basic things that the people of Kenya are using. In that discussion, I think they would have tried to lower the taxation that was pegged on the fuel products from 16 to 8. That would really help the people of Kenya. Lowering the cost of fuel with any amount of money, it would really help the people of Kenya, because majority of Kenyans are hustlers. Majority of Kenyans, I would say, people here live in hand to mouth. Majority of Kenyans. There's so many people who are going even without food in Kenya, and it is so unfortunate that there's a government in place that is supposed to take care of the people of Kenya. There's a government in place that should bring or try to structure things or issues that would really help the people of Kenya manage their lifestyle. But the government has just decided to ignore. They don't care. Instead of talking about issues, livelihood, issues that can help the livelihood of Kenyans to get better, they are focusing on election. They are focusing on server, things that are not really touching uh, the, the lives directly. I think that's being insincere, and as a government of the people of Kenya, they have really let the people of Kenya, and that's so unfortunate. I can't hear you. I think you've muted.
I'm saying hopefully the leaders will go back to the drawing board, or they'll come back with solutions that might see the cost of living going down for Kenyans, because Kenyans are not betterly placed right now. Now there's also this saga that
You
has been.
mind letting me in the show with the other device? I'm finding it tough to hold this.
Okay, let me see. You're okay now? Hello? Unmute. Unmute yourself.
Seems
Hello?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So we have we have issue here about the oil deal of 17 billion. This saga is still going on, and from the sources we know that there's a there that I read on the paper, by the way, that the MPs are planning to fly out to investigate the oil deal of 17 billion, you know, to Saudi Arabia and Russia. Then that is one. And secondly was Rwanda, Burundi, and Democratic Republic of Congo join Uganda in opposing Kenya oil deal. And something also that happened, the Njeri, the lady, the owner of the oil, Njeri, failed to appear before members of parliament. She says she was unwell. What is your take?
Uh, this issue of 17 billion, huh?
Uh,
from the from the sources that we